And now we're joined from Washington, D.C. by Asia 1 correspondent Jagruti Dave and Mostafa Afzal Zadeh in Tehran. Thank you for joining us here on Asia 1. Well, I go straight away. We'll begin with Mostafa this time. Mostafa, what's the reaction on the streets on Tehran on Iran denying direct talks with the U.S.?
Well, right now, despite the ongoing negotiations between Iran and the United States, the main concentration in Tehran and in Iran is on the giving farewell to the Iran's late supreme leader and his ceremony, funeral ceremony that is going to be held in the week from Friday till Wednesday. But despite that, there are different groups of people talking about the negotiations between Iran and the United States. The main group is trying to keep unity, as the Iran Supreme Leader has announced that is the most important thing that they have to keep. But there are also critics from both sides. Some say that Iran is not doing much to comply with the negotiations. The other hardliners are saying that we shouldn't trust the United States and we should stop negotiating. But as I said, the main concentration is on the coming ceremony of the funeral of the late Supreme Leader.
Well, Jagruti, now to you, why did Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner meet Qatar's Prime Minister today with no direct US-Iran meeting scheduled?
Well, these talks are technical level talks. That's what we understand from the Qataris. So they are talking to mediators, and we understand to lay the groundwork for later talks, more high level talks. That's what the reporting that we are getting and that we understand. And look, I think the fact is there's a clear sense that both sides do not trust each other. They have come at cross purposes before, misrepresenting the nature of discussions, the nature of talks. This is a pattern that we have seen between the US and Iran. So this is, in some sense, nothing unusual, but it has complicated situation. You know, on the one hand, we've had President Trump claiming that the Iranians requested a meeting to talk, and now we're hearing from the Qataris this was something that the Iranians had rejected, and now we're hearing that they are indirect talks between mediators and technical staff to thrash out some of the details, like the Strait of Hormuz, like how a broader peace can be achieved before they go into more concrete details. Now, remember, also the venue changed. Initially, there was going to be, we understood, meeting in Switzerland, which then changed to Doha. And one of the reasons for that, perhaps, is the fact that we had that escalation between the US and Iran, those tit-for-tat strikes centered around disagreements about the routes taken by ships through the Strait of Hormuz, and disagreements about the interpretation of that memorandum of understanding less than 2 weeks ago that was signed. So we already have cross purposes at the heart of this interaction between the US and Iran. But here we understand that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are there in Doha, not engaging directly with the Iranians, but with the Qataris to try to build towards potentially more high-level talks.
All right, Mostafa, I know back to you. Are you hearing any signals at all inside Iran's government on when the frozen assets might be actually moved?
Well, the frozen assets that Iran insisted a lot during the Islamabad talks, and after that, is very important for Iran. That shows that Iran, the money is not that much comparing to the compensation that they could have got from the Americans to Iran, and also the money that they can make through the Strait of Hormuz. But again, that would show that Iran has put pressure on the United States and got concessions from Americans. There is an ongoing talks in Qatar, as a high-level Iranian officials have gone to Qatar. Mr. Gharibabadi, the Deputy of International Affairs of the Foreign Ministry, representatives of the Central Bank, and also Ministry of Agriculture on Qatar. They're talking about two main things that Iranians have said. They're only going to talk about these two main things. One is the frozen funds, how it's going to be released, and how much control Iran is going to have over it. And the other thing that they're going to talk about is the ongoing war in Lebanon. They're going to talk about and negotiate how they're going to solve that. And also, there was on the news that Qatar's king has also met with the American representatives, and also Iran had meetings with the mediators from Pakistan and Qatar to resolve the issue of the frozen funds.
All right, we still continue talking about the frozen assets. Jagruti, do you have any information if Congress is pushing to slow or to speed up releasing these Iran frozen assets?
The issue of Iranian frozen assets has been an ongoing contentious issue for Congress. In fact, many members of Congress have been trying to pass legislation to block Iranian funds and to stop them from ever being unfrozen in a bid to prevent Iran from getting money, and in some cases to divert those funds, say, to Israel to help support them. And this is because a lot of these lawmakers do not want Iran to ever get access to that money to rebuild infrastructure, to ease the pressure on Iran that sanctions have put on them. And many would see that as capitulation. You have, when you look at reaction to the Memorandum of Understanding, a lot of Republicans actually very unhappy with the prospect of releasing Iranian frozen funds, saying that it would be a blunder to have that money in Iranian hands so that they can regroup, and as I say, they can have some of the pressure that has been put on them through sanctions released slightly, alleviated slightly. They view sanctions as a way to really tighten the screw on Iran for these negotiations. So you do have a sense from Congress, this is long running prior to this war and the Memorandum of Understanding, a sense from Congress to continue with sanctions. But here, this prospect of relieving sanctions, look, the Qataris in the United States have not said that any funds have been released yet. And it has caused some consternation amongst some hardline Republicans who want to continue that pressure to be applied.
All right, Jagruti, Mostafa, thank you so much for joining Asia One here at this hour. I appreciate your time and thanks for the updates.